Well, hello, Speed Gaming. Hope everybody is having a wonderful weekend so far. Hope it was a good one. Or if you're watching this on YouTube at a later time, still hope it's been a good day for you. We are excited to bring a little free enterprise to the marathon tonight. Free Enterprise is an open world Final Fantasy IV randomizer. If you've never seen it before, hopefully you're in for an exciting evening. We have our runners just about ready to go, so we should be ready to go in just a little bit. I am Trenton, happy to be with you here tonight. Christopher will be joining me shortly. You picked doing the tracking tonight. It's a great team, great lineup of runners, and a lot of fun should be had by all. How you doing tonight, Christopher?
I'm good. Trenton, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well. So we've got everybody in here. Looks like everything is good to go. How about we turn these runners loose?
That sounds like a wonderful plan to me.
All right. We have let them loose in the IRC and should see them off to the races in just a little bit. Real quickly, we'll talk about flags as they develop, but one of the important ones here is C3, which means you only get 5 characters for the game. So when we see this Sid, that Sid is there till the end.
Yep, that means when we find, as is tradition, Edward or Tella, we're stuck with them till the end of the game. No dumping them for somebody better, because no one else will show up.
There will only be the 5 wherever we find them. This is no free lunch, so there are less spots available to find characters. Generally speaking, you get the 2 you start with, and you have to work for the rest.
Yep, and it looks like we're off, and we've got Iridia, so hopefully we'll get an early Bahamut summon, and looks like the first key item is going to be a Darkness Crystal.
Big pickup early on. We know we're going to have access to the subworld in some form or fashion, but Darkness Crystal opens our path to the moon. We may never find the pass. It'll be mixed in with the key items. It also gives us access to one of the best grind for experience locations in the game.
Well, really, 2 of the best if you've got the Siren, since this is a J seed, which enables the Japanese items and the Sirens with those double King Ryu fights.
You make an excellent point. So the Barrett Inn is one of the spots where a character will be, even if you're not ready for this fight right away, which would be a stretch. We find out that it's Fusoya, so we got plenty of magic available in this seed.
Yeah, good old Uncle Fu. At least we've got a decently solid healer, and with those J items, hopefully we'll run across a couple of Soma drops, increase his magic point pool.
This is glitchless, so they can't do some of the speedrun tricks like MP underflow. But with the J items, they may very well be able to increase magic points significantly. With it being only S2, they're not going to find them for sale, but they can find them in treasure chests.
That
or I
is
should
correct.
say they're unlikely to. There are no certainties.
Right, and with it being only a T3, the likelihood of finding them in those chests isn't all that great either.
T3, you're going to get some pretty decent stuff. We saw some okay things pop out of these treasure chests so far. A Dancing Dagger is a great early find. With Rydia, that's going to be plenty of early game damage.
Yeah, that makes her pretty useful early on, assuming that she can survive. I did see, believe it was Xyrak looked to be a silver apple, and that will increase her hit point pool by 50. If it was a gold apple, which it could have been, I didn't quite catch the second letter, it'll increase her hit point pool by 100. And that's some good early survivability.
So P.S. I love this play by scratchdragon, which was to go pick up the big whale, because even though you may not be able to do much on the moon, what you can do for no extra charge is pick up the character who's available there.
Yeah, and there's Fu at Mount Hobbs over on Simbu's side, but looks like he's going to nope out of that, not wanting to deal with Golbez.
I think most bosses other than Golbez, you were going to be inclined to take that fight. just to
Not
go ahead and get food for everything. But,
but not Golbez. Not with that. Not with that time loss of the in-fight cutscene.
So the name of the randomizer is Free Enterprise because you start with the Enterprise, and then later in the game where you would have gotten the airship, you will instead get one of the potential key items. This is K2, so none of our spots are guaranteed to be K items. They might have an item from the really good list of treasures list.
Right. The K2 seed will include the moon boss spots, as well as the summon monster bosses as potential key item locations, as well as the original ones. So that opens up the ability for some extra slots just to get some pretty decent items out of a pool that isn't normally in the treasure chest pool.
Hummingways have exits, which is a really great find, hourglass ones, which is a great find, and coffins, which are also a great find. That is an absolutely loaded shop.
Yes, it is. That's halfway to some pretty easy grinding. Just need to find those sirens.
We'll talk about that if it comes to it, but the hourglasses, since they're a J item, not everybody may be familiar with them, it'll cast stop on enemies, so anybody who's susceptible to that, it makes a fight tremendously easier.
Yep, and it looks like Simbu is through the Antline Cave and finds Baigan, so this should be a pretty easy early fight. Looks like Xyrak is right on his tail.
And a duplicate Rydia on the moon, so that doesn't work out as well as one would hope. This is another good point that's been brought up in chat. We have random encounters. They can be turned on or off, but the default is going to be off, and you'll rarely see them turned on when we have the option, because as long as we're able to pick up fights that are really good experience, then there's no reason to take random encounters that just eat up time and they're not good experience.
Right. Usually only turned on in desperate grind situations. Looks like Antlion Baigan rather, only dropped the defense sword, which neither Sid nor Rydia can use at this point, so kind of useless.
Lunch money.
Lunch money. That's good. But if Kane or Cecil shows up here relatively soon, it's a good weapon for either one of them.
Yeah, this starts to question where our people are going to be available from, since we've already seen the two duplicates in the easiest spots to get someone. Sand Ruby character, we'd have to find Sand Ruby. There'll be a character where Edge joins via the hook, so we'd have to find the hook to be able to get to that character. Of course, behind the Baron Key, and 2 at the Tower of Zot, where we need Earth Crystal.
Yeah, and it looks like Xyrak and scratchdragon are taking the Golbez fight, whereas Simbu did nope out of that, and he's at Fabul now fighting Rubicon.
So, I wouldn't mind finding out what Fu's spells are before particularly making this decision. 2 of your characters are going to survive, so scratchdragon just got the good luck with it being Sid and Vasoya. Now you have a chance.
Yeah, that is pretty decent luck. Looked like SilverStar noped out of that Golbez fight as well. Xyrak not getting good luck as Fu is taken out, but at least Sid is still alive, and that's going to be the main damage dealer here.
Looks like Drain's going to be able to work significantly well in a low magic power spot, so Golbez is not wrecking us as bad as he can in plenty of these locations.
Yeah, Golbez's constant magic attacks are pretty deadly if you get a spot with a high magic attack, and scratchdragon takes out Golbez, as does Xyrak.
Well, we got a great display of what another one of the flags does. The F2 flag means that Fusoya is going to get 3 of his spells at random, with a bias, but at random, as we defeat bosses. So he got 3 more spells for us completing the Golbez fight.
Yeah, as well as 100 hit points per boss.
Some interesting stuff for sale at Fabul. I saw bandanas. I also saw we picked up a Silence Staff, which is one of those sneaky good items to have in reserve. There's some enemies that are weak to that element, and you get 4 times bonus damage, so it does a lot for you.
Well, as well as being the second best white magic staff in the game, it's definitely a good thing to have, especially with the likelihood of life staffs being a hard find.
A heroin robe is useful for making an archer out of Rydia in this case. Though we don't have the good bow or good arrows yet, but that is part of the equation and can lead to a lot of damage.
If not, it's always lunch money.
Indeed, and pretty good at that. Xyrak uses Fu to get by Rubicon quite easily. To answer a question in chat, because this is another good question, our bosses have been shuffled, so it's all the same bosses, but they show up in different spots. They will be scaled to that spot, but their mechanics will retain the same treatment. So Golbez is still casting the spells that he casts. There is Sirens for sale on SilverStar's screen. If we find Vivalis, then she's going to behave the same way where she spins and Kane's jumps will break the spin. So that's at Fabul for the Sirens.
Yeah, that's a good early place to have those Sirens. And backtracking on what you said, Vivalis being rather a difficult boss without Kane, as her evade stats go way up while she's spinning. So definitely something you either want to find very late, when everyone's powered up, or preferably not at all.
Indeed. I mentioned that Golbez could be very difficult in certain places. This wasn't one of them, but there's other times where he is just a massive roadblock with how much magic power he can have.
Yeah, especially with him wiping you down to 2 party members right at the start, guaranteed.
At the same time, you can get an early boss like, say, the Antlion at, well, let's say the Odin spot, where it's fast, he's got good physical damage, and he is just a nightmare to get past.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where just because it's an early game boss doesn't mean it's, and you find it in a late game spot, doesn't mean it's going to be an easy fight.
So Pale Dim here at the Barren Inn, the Glimmer of Light told us it was going to be one of the moon bosses. Pale Dim's going to counterattack physical attacks with slow, but that's the guard spot, which is really low HP, so you're usually not going to have a lot of trouble getting past that. A second moon boss, though, is worrisome.
Oh, Derek Lunars, those are going to be interesting here without the magic damage to bypass their wall virus strat.
Yeah, this is not one that you like to see in a lot of places. Chat asks what Sirens do. They will summon the most rare encounter for any given spot. And we're able to use that significantly to our advantage by getting some high experience enemies that we can kill quickly. I'm sure we're going to see that strat at some point.
Most likely, anyway, with Fusoya and having the Darkness Crystal, there is a good I would think there would be a good possibility of there being a D-Machine grind at some point.
Now, you saw Simbu did not attack the D-Lunars. That's because their script will trigger once you do a physical attack, and that would wreck him even worse than what we saw. So It was important to not physically attack, and he tried to do it with the dancing dagger since it was already there. And Starveils wouldn't help there because of their casting off walls anyways.
And it looks like SilverStar is looting the basement of Peroria. I can never pronounce that correct. I always pronounce it Troya, because that's how it was on the English cart that I had.
I didn't see what the king gave to scratchdragon. Oh, Earth Crystal, apparently. Mr. Ubik doing our tracking tonight. Also one of the great runners of our community, and thank you so much for him to contribute tonight. Are the treasures random too? They are. They are scaled, so it's not an equal chance of everything. In this case, with it being T3, you'll see a lot of good stuff.
And it looks like we've got a vanilla Mylon, you know. So here is the, oh, what's the word? Mandatory. Is this even randomized?
Nah. Looks like Xyrak was able to get past the D-Lunars, so now has the Magma Key, which is a fantastic thing to have. It's access to more of the world. You can now get a free key item from the Land of Summoned Monsters. You could also get another one by going and visiting Yang. Usually people won't do that without the pan, though, because you don't want to double back.
Yeah, that's something that they definitely try and avoid. But the main thing that it does is it also bypasses having to do the vanilla Rubicon spot, which, depending on the boss, there can be a definite hang-up without some serious grind.
Xyrak just found the silk webs for sale. That's fantastic. We're getting the weapons for Cecil.
Ooh, I saw Zeus Gauntlet.
Zeus, I believe there was a crystal sword. There's also a drain sword. I like to call it the hype sword because it means you get another 10 levels. Samurai armor is a strong defensive gear as well. This was a loaded room. Lots of good stuff. Still have no summons for Rydia, though. Two in particular stand out that we like to find. Bahamut is the Dream, but Leviathan is really good as well, especially for the early game.
Yeah, the preference is always Bahamut. Leviathan works in a pinch. The other one that people often like to find as well, if they can't, you know, their third choice is going to be Sylph, which basically does a drain, but it heals the entire party. So it works pretty well in a pinch.
It also is quote-unquote free to cast. As long as you have enough MP to cast it, you're going to... It won't actually charge you the MP for it.
One of the wonderful bugs in our game.
Some of these things actually work in our favor. While Rubicund is giving SilverStar the business, Simbu is working on getting through Mount Ordeals. Mount Ordeals has one key item available. In No Free Lunch, there is not a character. If the end flag is turned off, there is a character available. You've seen Fu at this point, so you also know you're getting 9 spells unlocked for Fu by doing this. And
Yeah.
if Tella is in the game, he gets all of his spells, as well as Cecil becoming a paladin.
Yeah, this is one spot that a lot of people tend to avoid if they don't have anything else, if they have other things they can do. Like Xyrak, he's now at the top of Tower of Zot. I didn't quite see that boss sprite. Oh, it's
That's
the Dark
Dark
Elf.
Yeah, I don't think we have Weak, though, so this is going to be a little annoying, but with Quake, it should be doable.
Scratchdragon in the Mist Dragon spot, just killing off some easy bosses to get Fu his spells, finding the 4 elements fight.
Yeah, as long as you beat the boss, Fu gets 3 spells unlocked until he max powers up. You just don't care which ones.
Doesn't have to be progression, just has to be a boss. But it does look like Fu has learned Quake, So that's a good early spell that does a crap ton of damage.
Quake might one-shot most bosses for the first half of the game. The top of Mount Ordeals has the rat tail. Now Simbu just has to get past Mob Bomb in order to claim it. Can't turn in the rat tail without the hook, but it does move you one step closer to 10 items.
Yeah, and that's going to be really important for our grind because at 10 key items, the experience you gain is doubled, and each character will get the experience that you gain per fight isn't split among characters. Each character gets the displayed value, so that's something that's done just to shorten the game so it's not artificially elongated.
Well, that was a dream for scratchdragon. Got past the first fight at Baron Inn and unlocked Quake to have for the D-Lunars, and then just one-shot them with it. So that's the power of an early Quake on display. Another duplicate Fu here at the top of Zot, who's the second character.
It's
One
a
of the
twin.
twins. That's the white magic twin.
Yep, that's Porum. So this is going to be a very magic-heavy seed. It looks, I would highly suspect at this point, especially Xyrak's probably already thinking of bounce strats for Zeromus.
Yeah, the melee strats aren't going to be kind if you only have 2 melee people. We don't know who the 5th character available is. Although you could make an archer out of Rydia and still have 3 melee damagers.
Very true, but that's very item dependent, and you're guaranteed to get a decent amount of MP and nuke with Rydia, given enough levels.
So let's back up to the characters for a moment. Under normal circumstances with the N flag, which is no free lunch, there would be 1 duplicate character available in the seed. When we have the C3 flag on, however, there's more duplicates since there's only 5 characters, but they're among the same number of spots. The spots are generally speaking the same place that a character would join you in the vanilla game. But which character joins there gets randomized. And with no free lunch, we've taken a few of those out, like the Waterway, Mount Ordeals. Tower of Zot yields a ribbon, which is a great magic defense item.
Arguably one of the best helmets in the game. It's right up there with the glass helm, which is the physical version of the ribbon. The ribbon is generally considered superior because it also blocks all status ailments.
The scratchdragon is going to show off the grind spot, or one of the grind spots. Uses the siren to summon these eggs for yellow dragons. They're a favored spot because you can also come here with coffins, and those coffins will just automatically kill the egg without having to do any amount of damage. Quake is also one-shotting them, so that's not bad either. I don't think this is going to be a big level grind. It's probably just something to like the 30s to be able to get past bosses faster and safer.
Yeah, most likely just to get rid of some spells and some hit points. If memory serves, I believe these eggs / yellow dragons have about 1,800 hit points. So with those Quakes doing 2,300 apiece, yeah, those are an easy one-shot. And
so that is just,
Go ahead.
That's just one of the spots that's loved because it's so easy. Anybody can learn to get experience from that spot. And scratchdragon is going for the land of summon monsters where a free item is awaiting us.
As well as, and there's a Soma drop. As well as 2 of the 2 bosses here, where Ashura and Leviathan. There's the pink tail for scratchdragon. That will unlock a free adamant armor once you get the hook.
Star Veils for sale here. That's fantastic.
Yeah, those are always a good find. Sometimes you want moon veils too, but you'll always take a star veil.
And again, with these J items, if you're not familiar with them, there's a lot of resources to tell you what these things are, but we'll just kind of cover them particularly as they're used. But the Star Veils will cast Wall on whoever uses it. Now, I don't think scratchdragon is going to be in any position to take these fights on. With a couple levels, I just don't think it was enough. That looks like Octomon and Antlion. And those are a couple of brutal ones.
In that spot, they can be. They'll be fast, and they'll hit like a UPS truck carrying Mack trucks. And scratchdragon noping out.
I think if I found myself in scratchdragon's position, my play would be to Dwarf Castle. We've got 2 bosses to get through, but a character joins. Maybe it's our 5th. And also there's a key item available.
Well, at this point, it would be our... No... Well, it would be scratchdragon's 4th, because he hasn't visited Tower of Zot yet.
But knowledge-wise, it's 5th, because you've seen the Baronin character.
You mean the Tower of Zot character?
You're right. Well, yeah, scratchdragon already got Foo. In any event, for our knowledge, it's the 5th character, possibly. We don't even know that yet. It might be another Foo. No, actually, I think it's limited to 3 repeats. So I think we're done seeing Foo.
I don't know either way, but either way, another Foo would be kind of funny. Anyway, it's going to be the Yang fight up here behind King Gaia, at least for the first time. And then we'll get to see who our character is.
The other thing this spot will do that's important, I think, in this seed is Rydia grows up, so we get those free summons. And in particular, getting Titan gives you Quake, so that's very valuable to get early on.
As well as the level 2 elemental spells, which can also be helpful considering she doesn't get the level 3 spells until much later.
She will lose out on her white magic for whatever that is worth, which is not a lot.
Yeah, her white magic capability is extremely limited, and generally not seen as very good. So, I mean, I've used it in a pinch, but it's generally not worth it.
So what is the victory look like? We will go to the normal final boss location. We will fight the fight. Asterisks on that, more to come later. And you will definitely know when we get GG. It will be every bit as epic as this deserves. We've got Dark Knight Cecil.
And I believe, I could be wrong. Oh, and there's Edward. There, I called it at the beginning.
Yep, this is a scene where we're going to need magic. So scratchdragon just stands there and takes it for 3 turns, and that's all you have to do to win against Dark Knight Cecil.
It's just not a C3 seed without Edward or Tella.
I'd much rather have Tella.
Although, given enough levels and Artemis bow and arrows, Edward can actually produce. I've done it. He's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Given, he's level 60 or more.
The downside, though, is there's no equipping a heroine robe on him. So he's still going to be behind Rydia or Porum doing heroine robe archer strats.
Very, very true. Either way, it's going to be very hard for him to get the defenses and the hit point total needed to survive the Big Bang in the Zeromus fight. So most of the time, Edward's going to be tasting dirt.
Ooh, I didn't see that item. Was that the Baron Key? I'm not sure. I only saw it for a second. Cure 3's and Life's huge shop here. Tower Key is what chat says, so that's great for unlocking only one item, but it causes us to go to a location that'll have 2 items.
The one nice thing about a C3 seed is that Cure 3s are guaranteed to be found, no matter what the shop setting is. And that's done in case you don't get a white mage, you still have some way to heal.
It's going to be very valuable. So this is interesting. Checking out the last town here, seeing what items are available. There's a few things you're hoping to find. The Bacchus wines will cast Berserk on the user. That's extremely useful. So worth mentioning that with Dark Knight Cecil, you can in fact kill him if you do enough damage, but it's just usually faster with no free lunch to take the 3 hits. So Scratch Dragon's going to cover new ground for us coming up to Tower of Babel lower. There will be a boss at the top of the tower where Dr. Lugi normally is. That'll be one of our item locations. Then the cannon room will also be another item location, because that would normally be the sequence which nets you the hook in the vanilla game.
And it looks like Scratch Dragon is foregoing all the chests in here. There are 4 trap chests in here, which can sometimes net you some decent items, but he's not wasting his time. He's just bolting straight for the top.
Some people will check the cannon room first just because it's already on your way. It doesn't really matter that much since you have to walk. Oh, did somebody find the vendor trash armor? Chat's talking about it. Crystal armor is not favored in Randomizer in particular because it will block the use of Berserk. So when you want Cecil to hit hard, you want to use Berserk. Crystal armor counters that.
And it looks like we have the Baron in guard fight here up at the top. Or it could be the Kaipo in guards. It's going to be one of those 2 based on that sprite.
Chad asks, what's the text at the bottom of the item text boxes? One of the conveniences, well, there's a couple of conveniences with this randomizer we haven't talked about yet. You may notice that Simbu is moving faster because we have dash enabled. That's obviously one of the great conveniences we have. Another one is there's a quick discard for picking up treasures, and that is what that text box is telling us, that you can just use the R button to dismiss it.
Yeah, that way you don't have to. That way your inventory doesn't get clogged up with a whole bunch of useless garbage and you have to go and sell it.
Right, so Simbu is working through Tower of Zot, which we know is not going to be terribly helpful.
Well, it will net him Porum, which will be a good healer for him.
Which actually is the only spot we've seen Porum from. There's a few spots we haven't seen yet. One is behind the boss at Giant of Babel, which we almost will never see because there's no key item available there, so it's just extra time. We've not seen the Sand Ruby spot. There's also one from the package we haven't seen, and one from the hook we have not seen. This is indeed a randomizer race. It's called Free Enterprise, so we start the game with the Enterprise and have access to all of the overworld. That's a crystal ring, not the crystal. The crystal is the key item we're looking for to be able to complete the game.
Although that crystal ring really is one of the best. Actually, it is the best ring in the game. So not a disappointing find, just not what we're ultimately looking for.
Yeah, you see crystal and you start getting your hopes up. And it's like,
Oh, and there's the Mist Dragon in the Cannon Tower room. Now, since this is a no free lunch seed, normally in the vanilla game, Edward would give you his twin harp in Troya. Since this is a no free lunch seed, that item is now locked behind the Mist Dragon. So now that this boss has been defeated, Scratch Dragon will be able to go back to the Mist Village, and Rydia's mom will be there lying on the ground dead, and she'll die and give you a key item.
A couple questions in chat about the length of the randomizer. There's a lot of variations based on your flag. On your flags, first and foremost. And then on the seed, of course, there's going to be some variations. When we do a K2, I think everybody was coming into this expecting it to be 1.5 to 2 hour range.
Yeah, that's on the long end of average for a K2 seed, especially with runners of this caliber. I would be kind of surprised if it went past 1:45.
Now, there's a lot that's favorable, including the Darkness Crystal, the Sirens, the Coffins. There's a lot of places to level up quickly, but there's a lot of bosses you might have to check to be able to find the crystal in this seed. Cannon Room nets us the Twin Harp, which is one of the most exciting moments for a free enterprise community, because we've turned the ordinary, mundane Dark Elf fight into something very different. And hopefully we'll get to hear that very soon.
Given the options that Scratch Dragon has left, I would be highly surprised if we didn't get that surprise here very quickly after he leaves the Sylph Cave, possibly going back to Fabula and talking to Sheila.
Yeah, a lot of times people don't like to do this without the pan, so that you can get all of the items in one go instead of having to go back later potentially. But sometimes you just have to make that play and hope that it works out the right way.
And Scratch Dragon checking Rydia's mom.
So you'll notice the village is not burned to the ground, and you could visit the shops if you'd like to. What could they do with an adamant?
Well, if they find the Legend Sword, they can take it to Kopol, the smith, down in the underground and get an Excalibur sword and open up another shop. But without Cecil, that's not likely to happen.
And no edge, so you couldn't even throw it. So the first item from Yang's wife is available just by making the trek down there, seeing that Yang is in the bed, and then she will hand over something.
Yeah, in the vanilla game, this is where you would pick up the pan. But here, we get the hook. And that will open up Eblin Cave, as well as the Adamant Cave north of Mount Ordeals. So Scratch Dragon can turn that in and get his Adamant armor.
Adamant armor, that's vanilla behavior that was preserved in the randomizer. The difference is a Pinktail was added to the key item pool instead of only being a rare drop from the Pink Puffs. And chat, time to get excited, because we're going to get music from Scratch Dragon. I think we're going to be able to switch the audio. We'll find out in a moment.
Audio has been switched.
Okay. So we'll give this a good few seconds to play out when we get there. But one of the things that was just added because we like fun is we will get a random song. And there were some really awesome ones.
Usually Final Fantasy related, but not always. Sometimes it's just other good video game music.
Yeah, there's a couple from Chrono Trigger involved. Alright, so we still have to do phase 1, which is the Dark Elf. That part is vanilla, nothing you can do about it.
Yep, this is strictly cutscene.
But then we will get the actual fight after this. And Xyrak has actually made the same play. And so has SilverStar. We have 3 people on the harp at the same time. How'd that happen?
Meanwhile, Simbu's underground. He's headed over to the leveling ledge, and he's gonna do probably just a real quick grind, get everybody a couple of quick levels, and be on his way.
Yeah, I imagine that's going to be the same or similar thing to what we talked about earlier. Although let's let the song go. Definitely some Chrono Trigger. Simbu will probably go from here to Dwarf Castle. We'll see how that plays out. Boss is going to be CPU.
Definitely a boss you don't want to find in a magic heavy party. And in this spot, it's got very high magic defense. So this is going to be a slog.
Yeah, CPU has a way of neutralizing a bunch of your strats. You can't do big AoE magic. He's got the wall. You can't do berserk characters unless you're willing to take a couple global 1999s to the face. CPU is normally on Giant of Babel, so he's one of the end game bosses before the final dungeon. So this is a significantly different location for him to be in. And he's just kind of a roadblock wherever he pops up, usually. Unless it's one of the very early locations where you can just do enough damage to one-shot him.
Or if he's late game enough where you can just mass damage him before you have to worry about Globe 199.
So pretty standard is take out the healer, just eat the damage, heal yourself, and keep whacking away at CPU. Alternative strats you might see from people include going ahead and killing both of the attacker and defenders so that you can use AoE magic. Like you could spam Quake here, it would pierce the wall and do some damage to CPU. And that may be what Xyrak is going to do. Oh, he's doing nuke? Is that wall down? It was not down.
It's not down. That's gonna hurt.
But scratchdragon is through.
Thankfully, this particular location does not have a whole lot of HP. It's just with a bunch of mages, you're not going to get a whole lot of melee throughput. But we get the pan, so back to Sheila we go.
Yep, and there's Xyrak got the nuke to stick that time. So that's different strats on display for how you can get past that boss. To correct one thing in chat, Global 1999 is not guaranteed damage. It's actually based on a couple factors, so you can certainly see less damage than that. The pan, we can go down, we can hit Yang over the head with it, and once we do, these Sylphs will be happy to hand over one item, and then Yang's wife will be happy to hand over another one. But you do have to actually hit Yang with it before Sheila will give you the pan item. Scratch Dragon's following the path to the Earth Crystal for the first time.
Yeah, he's making that detour to the Tower Azov before he goes back and sees Sheila.
Well, he'll need to go back underground first.
This is true.
Chad asks, have we seen any moon veils? We've seen one from a treasure chest. I don't think we've seen them for sale. Probably won't in these fights. The point that's being made is that the moon veils would make those land to summon monster bosses trivial. That's because it'll also block physical damage in addition to magic, so yes, it would actually make the fight trivial. We just don't have enough of them. And Scratch Dragon says, Dark Elf, didn't I just fight you?
Take the words right out of my mouth.
So we're really in Hunt for the Crystal mode. We could get all the levels we need to finish the game. I don't know that everybody has found the locations of every party member now. Scratch Dragon's about to find the 5th.
I think Scratch Dragon is going to be the last one to go through Zot, I think. The only other person who might not have done it yet is Simbu.
Yeah, when we're darting between 4 screens, sometimes it's easy to overlook something. So, Sheila 2 gives us the pass. Good news, bad news?
Hard to say at this point. It depends on where the crystal is.
What the pass does in Free Enterprise is give you a direct path to the final boss. You don't have to walk through all of the moon, you can just take the pass to get there. The bad news is if the crystal's on the moon, then that doesn't really help us now, does it?
The only thing it does help with is increase our key item count, gets us one step closer to double experience.
These dark imps are the ones that would normally be in the cannon room Tower of Babel, so usually they're really easy because they're just dark imps. But boy, you put them in a late game spot with high stats, they're not so easy.
Well, the nice thing is they don't have the boss bit attached to them, so you can still one-hit them with Fatal or Stone, assuming that it hits. And Simbu turned in his rat tail for the spoon, which in this particular seed is going to be absolutely worth about 5,000 GP.
Yeah, the only thing that's doing for us is moving the key item count. The adamant armor, though, fantastic. This is going to be a question, though, of really who you put it on. I'm not sure I know who I would put it on. Sid's probably going to be my agility anchor for this seed, which a little early to talk about that, but bottom line is I don't want to mess with Sid's agility.
Yeah, and with having both Britti and Porum, whose HP scaling is not the best, it's gambler's choice.
You could I'd probably bite the bullet and do it on the White Mage.
That makes the most sense, honestly.
And the reason we're having such a hard time with that is you don't want to de-equip the adamant armor. It'll do a glitch to your resistances, which is very bad. So we're just thinking in terms of who we'd want it on for the final boss. Okay, so SilverStar is taking on the summoned monster bosses using illusions to dodge the physical attacks. That does make a huge difference. But it will still scare Octomon, and the more you hit it, the slower it's going to get.
Edward contributed. 5 full damage. Go, Edward.
It's a big day for him. He doesn't always get to do 5 damage.
And he tanked a shot to the face, so that's one less attack that has to be evaded.
Yeah, it kept somebody important from getting hurt. He took one for the team. Now, all of our runners started at the same time, so even though we don't see SilverStar's timer, it started at the same time as everybody else. Hope everybody has had a wonderful weekend so far, whatever your plans may be for the rest of it. Octomon gets slower as the arms disappear, so a lot of progress being made by SilverStar. Looks to be in good shape for this fight. Used those blink strats, and it made a difference.
Yeah, and it looks, just judging by the party, it looks like SilverStar hasn't been to Zot yet without Porum there. So when he finally does, if he does go there, he'll be able to slingshot her pretty good.
So, gotta deal all of the damage that it would take to kill Asura here, because that's how much HP I'm sorry, this is the Leviathan spot. This is Leviathan's HP that SilverStar has to do.
That is correct. And to answer a question in chat, based on this flag set, the estimate given prior was 2 to 2.5 hours. But with the caliber of these runners, I'll personally be surprised if we pass an hour 45 or even an hour and a half.
Wait. The Leviathan spot gave us the Leviathan summon? Not random enough. This is a little late in the game for that to be great news for Rydia, but it certainly is good news for Rydia.
It's like, well, I'm not going to turn it down. Not what I was hoping for. It's certainly not Bahamut, but Leviathan ain't bad.
So with Antlion, he will not counterattack magic spells, so that much is in our favor. But what you're worried about with Antlion is actually his attack power scaling. That can be very unpleasant, but Simbu just makes short work of it.
Yep, he just nukes the carp out of him. And receives the Luca key for his trouble.
It's an interesting pickup. It can actually be a pretty quick check. Well, scratchdragon's going to cover some new ground, going to the moon. All of these moon bosses where we would get the final gear treasures from are now potentially the location that the crystal is at, which is what we need to defeat the final boss. So I would have liked the idea of checking Bahamut first.
Yeah, it looks like he's just darting right through, and he's going to head to the save room by the ribbon and white spear fights, possibly heading for going to be doing the King Ryu grind.
Could be. It also could be a case of you go down to the save point first and then work your way back to the bosses because it's faster. Or you could do both.
SilverStar picking up his Luca key and noping out, while Simbu battles Akamam.
Yeah, we'll see if anybody takes the bait to the Luca key. SilverStar is going to do just that. So I think at this point, if I'm following the logic correctly, this is our last location on the planet that the crystal could be. Well, it could be behind Baron Key.
Yeah, it could still be behind the Baron Key.
So scratchdragon is now showing off a different one of the grind for experience fights. The short of this is you can use hourglasses to stop the reuse. You can use weak to take them to single-digit HP, kill it with one hit, and use life on it to get twice the experience. Which adds up to a whole big pile. You can't use the life glitch when only one enemy is remaining, so that's why it can't be used at the egg location. But because there's two Ryus, we can get that much experience.
Yep, Forum just gained 35 levels in one shot.
Just a modest gain. So, we're getting kind of late in the game. We haven't seen what's probably the worst boss to run into in a lot of locations.
No, well, there's a couple of bosses we haven't seen that are not happy to see. We haven't seen Wyvern, we haven't seen Plague, and we haven't seen Ogopogo.
Yeah. Ogopogo doesn't like you casting spells. Wyvern doesn't like anything. Package was at the Luca Cave, so not really valuable to us.
Yeah, as soon as SilverStar saw that, he noped out. Not even worth the fight.
So at this point, the moon is our progress. Either the crystal is here, or the Baron Key is here, and that leads to the crystal. Prediction from me is that the crystal will be on the moon for one of the bosses.
I, however, vote for evil, and the crystal will be at Baron.
So question in chat about the random encounters. And these Ryus are a random encounter, we're just summoning them with the Siren. This is vanilla. They would normally be here, but they're a rare encounter here. Siren just happens to be summoning them. But the randomizer is not changing your random enemies, it's only changing the boss enemies. So scratchdragon, well, I'll let you talk about it. What's scratchdragon setting up at this point?
Well, scratchdragon is honestly just setting up for the Zeromus fight, and mostly he's worried about his HP totals. If you're not familiar with the game, Zeromus will cast a spell called Big Bang. He's guaranteed to get at least one off, depending on how fast you kill him. And it's going to do roughly 2,000 damage, depending on magic resists and damage rolls. So that's going to be the target he's aiming for.
the other thing getting these levels now does is you make it that much easier to kill all of the moon bosses. And at this point, you're figuring you're going to have to go through all of them in order to get the crystal. Dragon not getting a lot of damage out of Sid.
Yeah, if I saw correctly, Sid's only working with an ogre axe, so definitely not his best weapon.
Now SilverStar is also doing the Ryu fight. What's interesting is you can actually get this fight in 2 different places, and it's a little easier to get to actually if you get it from Bahamut Cave instead of the depths of the moon.
True, but this is for where they're going to be at. This is going to be a more convenient location, just because it's closer to a save point, and there's going to be several bosses that need killing very close by.
This is about as central a point in the dungeon as you can get, and it's just really easy to get to all of the bosses from the point that Scratchdragon's going to be at. Chad asks, where is this fight in the Bahamut Cave? You walk in the first floor, you walk the steps to the second floor, and you're standing on it. Then all you have to do is use the sirens. High enough levels now for Rydia to have nuke. And it looks like that's what ScratchDragon wanted.
Yeah, he should be able to pick up enough levels to get her 2,000 HP just off the boss fights at this point.
So chat debating about a leader. I don't think there's any question actually that ScratchDragon is in the lead just because we know that the crystal has got to be here on the moon. And that's an interesting play because what just happened on ScratchDragons is removing that adamant from Fu is now going to glitch Fu's elemental resistances. So any boss that does elemental damage is going to hurt.
Right, but given what's left, I don't know. There's still Valvolus floating around. There's still Kainatsu floating around.
He's sitting back at Baron. He's in Bygone spot.
Okay.
Oh!
No. That's a nope.
So that's not a hard fight, but that's a long fight. That is the Fabo Gauntlet, so you'd have to go through every one of those fights to be able to get to those 2 treasure items. And Scratch says it'll be faster to check the other spot first. It's
here's
Leviathan.
Leviathan.
Actually, this isn't going to hurt so much with Big Wave because that's a percentage-based hit. But Leviathan also does ice attacks, and that will probably one-shot Fu.
Yeah, that is definitely not going to feel good in the face of Fu.
Oh, SilverStar has found Odin. Lightning is the right element for doing a lot of damage. And if you get into a very weird situation, there's actually a script where you can one-shot Odin with a lightning attack, but it's not easy to set up.
No, but he has Edward, which makes it so much easier to do. But it doesn't matter.
When you can let 3 spam, you're probably getting through.
Yeah, at this point, with 2 people easily able to spam lit 3, no worries. Ooh, and there's the Baron key. So here's the question: Does he gamble and head back to the Boo planet and take out Baron real quick and the Odin spot, or does he stick here on the moon?
You know, this is a scenario where you could justify either play. I'm somebody who likes to gamble a lot in races, so I will make a lot of oddball plays like that. Just because if it works, it's such an advantage, and if it doesn't work, well, I was going to lose anyway, so what's it matter? I think with nobody done yet, you're probably a little more likely to search the moon first. But
That's not what
that's
SilverStar's
SilverStar
doing.
going for Baron.
Did you see him? Did you happen to see if he saved before he did this?
That's a good question. I don't think so, but also this might be thinking, hey, my fifth character is almost certainly got to be there, right?
Very possibly. And I don't think he has Porum yet.
Right now, scratchdragon doing the Fable Gauntlet, you just kind of have to. The goodness is Quake is going to make a lot of ground here. They scale up in HP, but the spot's HP is divided among all of the enemies. All of them. So the entire gauntlet is sharing that 1 HP pool. They'll actually be pretty low, especially relative to the spot.
Yeah, at this point, it's just more of a time drain than anything.
Pretty much the only place you want to see the Fable Gauntlet is the harp.
Pretty much, especially if you get good music.
Also, the other thing about it being the Fable Gauntlet is you only have to kill the 2 fighters. You don't even have to hit the general to win each wave. It can also be useful in some seeds where you need early experience, and you can get it from beating each wave.
Xyrak just now activating his Darkness Crystal. He's going to be significantly behind here at this point.
SilverStar just gets through Kingzano, who actually is weak to ice when the water is not gathered. Fun fact.
And who is the Baron King today? It's a Moon Boss.
Either Ago or Wyvern or Plague. I'm forgetting one. It's Ago.
Yeah, Ogopogo. Thankfully, this spot's only got about 4,000 hit points. So, one solid lit 3, and it's roasty, toasty, and burnt to a crisp.
Well, you better hope it works, because if it doesn't, the counter's gonna hurt.
Or a nuke to the face. That works.
Usually. And
yep, 6,700. That's more than 4,000.
If you don't kill Ago with the spell, he's gonna counter with Blaze, and it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, Blaze is another one of those percentage-based damage spells. I believe it's 10%?
There's our repeat Sid. We have only seen the one spot at top of Tower of Zot for our 5th character.
Yeah, well, and Edward's only shown up once as well.
Oh, did we? We just got the crystal from Fable Gauntlet, so go mode for scratchdragon.
Yeah, Scratch should be finishing up here in, I would say, less than 10 minutes.
So this is interesting. Edward's level is so low that what's going to happen is it's just going to default to base speed for Ramos. So it doesn't really matter for trying to set up speed. So this works. It's slightly unconventional, but it works. What we are going to see is the same fight that it normally would be against Ramos, but a different sprite for the boss. And chat mentions Scalakitty, who has done great work in adding so many sprites to the game. It just adds that extra element of fun.
Yeah, I think we're at over 250 different sprites that Zeromus could be. Might be over 3. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. But either way, we've got a wide variety to choose from.
The first time I played with that flag, I was fighting Mike Tyson.
That is one
Or
I have
Tyson.
yet to get.
And that was an early edition that Boardface had done.
Here we go. Sephimus! Good. I like to see him dead.
Well, you know, sometimes you do what you gotta do. Silk Web is a great opening move. It slows ×2, which is as slow as you can make a boss. It does work, and it does make a difference.
And it also, right at the beginning, activates his the nerf to for the first Big Bang. You don't have to wait for the shake.
Chat asking about world record time. Because of seed and flags, there's not really a world record time for the randomizer, but in different seeds, sub 30 minutes is entirely possible. Different flags, different seeds.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of sub 30-minute seeds done by El Magus. I think he's pulled off like a 27-minute seed. It was ridiculous. And just as I predicted, scratchdragon bouncing nukes off of Fu, bypassing the counter nuke that he will cast whenever he gets hit with the spell, like you saw at first when he hit him with the silk web and that slow. This will also bypass the the HP refill that happens about halfway through.
Yes, less overall HP for Sephimus. The other thing that you have to watch for is when he does Black Hole, and he'll probably do 1 or 2 in this fight. That will take the wall off for Soya, that will also restore Sephimus to full speed. Xyrak is checking out what's the Baron Key has, Simbu dealing with CPU, and SilverStar is going through the moon.
I would suspect SilverStar will be our next finisher after scratchdragon, just based on locations.
So obviously there was good routing for scratchdragon, but just really well played to get through everything quickly.
Ooh, and there's Wyvern at the at the Murasame spot.
But that's what a Starveil will do for you. The wall reflected the Mega Nuke. Unfortunately now Wyvern's going to go to doing individual nukes reflected off the wall, so nothing you can do about that. But the good news is the relative speed of Wyvern here seems good, so GG to scratchdragon.
Get your GGs in chat.
Beat Wyvern. Let's see. Imagine we're on SilverStar's audio now. SilverStar working with Wyvern, Xyrak with.
No, we're back on
about to be
Xyrak's
disappointed
audio,
again.
but and he just finished up Leviathan.
Now Simbu, I guess, working on the pan chain. Does he have the pan?
If he's heading into Sylph Cave at this point, I would hope so.
Oh yeah, it does. Looking at the tracker, it takes me a moment to recognize which one's pan and which one's adamant. I know that sounds silly, but it's just, that's what it is for me. This was an interesting one for the party composition. It's kind of a hodgepodge that you don't usually see.
Yeah, especially with the second choice mages with Rydia and Porum. Usually people are going to be after Hallam and Rosa. Although there is the debate over of Rydia versus Hallam, but Rosa is far and away the best white mage in the game.
Yeah, there's a variety of strats for defeating Zaramos. You can go several different directions with it. In my personal preference, I like to bring the 3 melee characters who get berserked and just keep dealing damage for 2,000 to 3,000 a hit. So this would have been a more difficult one for me because you have to use the mage strats here. I like doing the reflex strats here with the lower HP. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, scratchdragon's side, we're seeing the spoiler log after the fact that tells you where everything was. Now SilverStar continuing to descend. And Xyrak finds the Sand Ruby, which was the only item we hadn't seen yet. Actually, I don't think we saw the Legend Sword either. Ah, there it is. That was behind the Pebble Gauntlet, so we did see it. I just missed it.
Yeah, I missed it too. We saw the crystal and we're like, yeah, that's it. That's all we need.
The only thing that would have done for us was open up another shop that we didn't actually need. Now SilverStar seeing the King Ryu fight. Ready to get some levels. With only the 4 party members, I'd like to go for higher levels than I normally would with the full party. Not sure how SilverStar will approach it, but especially if you're going to only 3-member this Ramos fight, I would really want to be at a higher level.
Yeah, Edward in a C3, he doesn't really count as a character because he's so low and generally eating dirt so often. And did he even? Did he even pick up Porum? I don't remember offhand.
Nope. Just running with the 4 party members right now, with one being Edward. Stopped at Nuke, which that's the full party levels, so 5 party members, even 4, I'd feel okay with that. With just the 3, I don't like it nearly as much. I mean, you're a bad nuke roll, a bad Big Bang roll away from only having 1 party member to try and recover.
Very true.
Sid's gonna be fine. Fasoya, it would basically take a max damage roll of Big Bang to kill. Rydia does not quite take full power. And now Simbu's in the same area, so could be getting the crystal soon. Chad asks about how the game handled dividing experience. In the vanilla game, it did divide. In the randomizer, it's based on flag. So you can have a no divide flag. You can keep it vanilla and have it divide among the party members, or you can do the additional flag we have, which is the X2, and once we have 10 key items, we're not only getting the undivided experience, but we get double undivided experience. So it's actually more like times 10.
Right, and that's honestly done to shorten the times. Some people turn it off, but that just artificially elongates the game. Just grinding.
Yeah, you're going to get the same amount of experience and levels either way. It's just how long it takes you to do it. So it's another quality of life change more than anything. Simbu noped out of the Babel Gauntlet, which we know is the right path, but SilverStar has stuck with it, and that's going to pay dividends. And of course, we're very happy to answer questions. I know we didn't get to every single question that chat brought up because there was plenty of them. But if you come join us in the Free Enterprise Discord, you can get an answer to just about any question that there's an answer to. And there's a lot of friendly folks that'll be happy to help. Chad asks where the crystal was. It's behind this Fabu Gauntlet fight, which has the 2 treasure chests. Both of them count as key item locations. And SilverStar just picked up the crystal. Do exits. That's interesting. From where you are, it's actually faster to go ahead, save, and walk to Zaramos. Heading back to Earth takes more time, but there's other situations where doing it via the pass is faster.
Well, if I saw correctly, and I could be wrong because I was looking at other players, does SilverStar still need to grind?
Ish. Kind of depends. Where SilverStar has leveled enough that Rydia hasn't. So that's a common target when you have the full party. When you don't have full party, I prefer going to a higher level than that.
Well, he's got sirens. What is he?
Maybe Cure 3s.
That might be what he's after, but he's in the wrong shop. Those were in Dwarf Castle.
Yeah. Ether's chat brings up that'd be another fairly important thing for his party composition. I wondered if the eggs were on the radar from going to the subworld, but doesn't look like it. So maybe one last effort to find the 5th party member? We'll see soon enough. Simbu is taking on Evil Wall. And Xyrak has found the Magus Sisters. So again, these are a couple of those fights that can really scale to be awful in a bad spot. The Magus sisters, you're usually worried more about them early than late because they're casting level 2 elemental spells. So if they've got that plus high magic power, it can be a big hit. But just really you hope for Quaker Meteor to deal with them.
Very true. And just a question that was in chat. There is a Discord for it, and the link has been posted in chat. So if you're interested in joining us, please come and play. We like to consider ourselves one of the best communities in speed gaming. So definitely come and join us. We've got plenty of people who are willing to help you out, and races going pretty constantly. So if you're interested in coming and playing, definitely do it.
There's a weekly race on Speed Gaming, by the way. So that will be in approximately 15 hours-ish. It's dangerous to do math while live on Twitch. It'll always betray you.
That is correct. If there's one thing you learn when streaming, it's never time math on stream.
But there will be a free enterprise race on Speed Gaming Family of Networks tonight. Just recently, we did our first league series of events. That's wrapped up, but there's another coming soon, which is going to be the World Series of Free Enterprise. So you still got plenty of time to get involved with the community for that. And from the time I have gotten into Free Enterprise, I've been really impressed with the amount of information that's been discovered, covered, and shared among the community. Just a bunch of things we didn't know a year ago are now fairly common knowledge. In particular, how to deal with the Z fight.
Yeah, and SilverStar is getting his Z fight going here. Honestly, I expect to see the same strats that scratchdragon used, but we'll find out here momentarily.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward with this party. You've only got 2 people who are going to be able to do significant damage. Then hopefully Sid can just use items to be the healer.
Edward being useful in using the crystal for us.
This is another change that was made for the randomizer. In vanilla, it had to be Cecil that uses the crystal. In Free Enterprise, we can have anyone use the crystal because we may not have Cecil. Case in point. Okay, well now I have no idea what Simbu is doing. Or no, I'm sorry, SilverStar. Okay. Wait, so Simbu should have. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the counter nuke from the silk web that hit Edward. Another stroke of luck for SilverStar.
Now, this is a seed that has led to a lot of spacing, just because of the different paths. How does the Baron Massidia warp work in this? The same way. It just doesn't. It's not necessary when you have an airship. One nice thing that can happen with the Magus Sisters is they can be a great way to get a lot of experience. Cindy revives the other 2 sisters. Okay, this is a good question in chat to address, which is what SilverStar did. In the vanilla game, you can go to Toria, purchase a pass, and go into, let's call it a dance club. In the randomizer, that club has been replaced with a warp that takes us directly to the moon where Xyrak is. So it's a nice little quality of life thing that gives a purpose to this item. And if you're not already on the moon, it is significantly faster to use the pass to get to this fight.
That it is.
And oh, by the way, you can save right before using the pass instead of 6 floors in advance or whatever it is.
SilverStar having just a little bit of trouble on his Sephimus fight, but nope, there it is. There's the crackle bang, and SilverStar is done. Get your GGs in chat for him.
Yeah, that's about a 128.43. SilverStar started at the same time as everybody else, just had a timer malfunction, so not showing up. Simbu has not had good luck with Wyvern. Didn't get a Star Veil up in time. And Xyrak is in the right neighborhood to find this crystal.
Yep, it's just one house over.
Also, a question about the final boss fight. It is the same final boss fight, whatever the sprite is. It's just the sprite has been changed because we like fun.
Yep, exact same mechanics. Everything about it is the same. It's just the picture is different.
Now, worth noting, there is one thing you can do, which is use a different variation of the randomizer, and your final boss will be at China Babel instead. So then that can be any of the random bosses from the game. So it could be Odin, could be Leviathan, could be Wyvern, could be the Water Hag. Just any one of those bosses that's in the game can be at China Babel, but that's a variation flag that you have to intentionally set. So it's just, there's a couple elements like that for just because we like fun. Another one that's in the game is in the dwarf village that's to the south. There's the big treasure room, and one of those two dwarfs has a random occupation. Instead of being a farmer, he can have all sorts of occupations. So if it's a casual run, feel free to talk to him. See what he's doing this time around.
Looks like Simbu's on his own fight here, and he should be getting through it here pretty quick. Having to spot Fu some mana points, though.
I think the length of this Fable Gauntlet has steered a couple other people away, but because Xyrak did the other room first, it makes more sense to just go ahead and finish this. It's really not that bad here when Quake takes care of the guards.
Yeah, it's by no means a hard fight, it's just a lengthy one. Because of all the screen transitions.
Yeah, you're usually hoping also for this to be in just a whole day spot, but this is not a whole day party.
That it is. That it is. It is not a whole day party.
So the whole time, all we had to do was take the Darkness Crystal, which was the first item in the game, go to the moon, which is where you could find the crystal. You just had to be strong enough to win. Against the Fable Gauntlet, which basically just took Quake. So we could have been Go mode from level 20.
Yeah, just a matter of really, it would have been a lot easier to find Fu and get him the requisite boss kills to get Quake, but still, that all it would have taken was just a good healthy grind, and you're off to the races. This seat could have very easily been done in 45 minutes had they done it correctly.
Oh, what perfect knowledge can do after the fact. So, Chad, have you been enjoying the marathon? How about showing some love to Speed Gaming? Hope everybody's following the Speed Gaming family of networks. And thanks to Speed Gaming for having us on. I won't say tonight, I'll say this morning. It's about 2:20 my time.
Ooh, you're up late.
I took a nap.
Well, here you're on the West Coast. It's only 11:20, so it's not that bad.
No one likes a smart aleck.
Better a smart aleck than a dumb aleck?
Simbu about to take on Kenzano. Go through the Baron section, and then we'll have only the moon left to deal with. Meanwhile, Xyrak has found the crystal, so that much closer to the end. So scratchdragon, our winner, again GG there, and says it's time for the turkey coma. So good luck with that. Kind of interesting that we really had limited equipment in this seed, even for a T3.
Very true. Nothing really outstanding equipment-wise. Just nothing spectacular.
Yeah, there was a lot of individual pieces, but not a complete package. Like we found the ribbon and the protect ring. How far are the rest of them from finishing? Xyrak, it looks like wants some more levels before going to the final boss, but is in go mode, so could be done in the next 10 minutes. Simbu has to go back to the moon and find the crystal first.
Probably just running. Xyrak's probably just wanting to get Rydia that much closer to that 2,000 HP point.
Oh, hey, SilverStar, didn't see you down there. GG.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Sorry.
GG.
I was going to apologize for my timer not showing up right on stream. I don't know why. OBS is just refusing to update, you know, what live split is actually showing on my end.
I don't know. Things can be weird sometimes. So you did that with the 4-man strats. Did you consider going to look for the 5th, or just it wasn't convenient, so who needs them?
Especially when I got the pink tail for the adamant armor, I said, who needs him? Whoever they are. Other than that, I wasn't too much in a rush to find them.
Yeah. It's actually our white mage twins, so the strats wouldn't have looked particularly different.
Yeah.
Simbu working on Mylon Z. The Odin spot, so you get the sand ruby for that. Xyrak, meanwhile, has done the final save and should be on the path to Xyrak. So this is kind of an interesting route, this seed, because the answer all along was just go to the moon and get the crystal.
Yep, and you started with that darkness crystal. It was handed to you at the start of the game.
All that work when it was just a short whale ride away.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, props to Scratched for actually doing that, because it's always a tough question. You're always asking yourself, when do you actually go to the moon? And on Earth, all I skipped was the Earth Crystal and ordeals.
Alright, so here goes Xyrak against the final boss. Chad asking about the string of letters and numbers that we have. Those are actually the flags for the randomizer. So if you put them in to the randomizer, it will tell you exactly what all of them mean. But like Jay tells us that the Japanese items on K2 tells us where the key items can be at. Knowing that you were only going to do 3-man strats, did you consider leveling anymore, or you were ready to go? Nothing to worry about.
I figured getting Nuke before the Lunar D spot, and then also getting that extra experience on top should probably push it enough. You don't expect Iridia wearing adamant armor and Tiara and Rune Ring to take 2,000 damage, usually. But it was fine to recover anyways.
Yeah, just some unlucky damage rolls there on that, with all that magic resistance. Ooh, Simbu taking another Mega Nuke to the face and wiping there.
Yeah, Wyvern, that was a rough fight.
You got the Star Veil off, right?
Yes, I got the Star Veil off at the start by on my second way through switching Edward into the middle, and with Adamant on Iridia, I knew she would be fast enough. It's tough without run buffering, but you can do it. For some reason, I couldn't run buffer that spot. I don't know why.
Simbu hasn't been able to get off the Star Veil yet. That was a second attempt at least.
Yeah, it looks like he moved the adamant armor to Iridia, and he's going to give it one more go. Meanwhile, Xyrak's still in his Z fight, proceeding nicely.
Alright, well thanks for having me on for this interview. Possibly for another one as well. You know,
some organizing to do, I guess. I don't know who's working on that.
I didn't feel too bad about getting second place by such a large margin, because Fusil said that we were still going too fast.
Well, this is speed gaming. We gotta do it fast.
All right, take care, guys.
All right,
take care.
GG again. Yeah, so there's talk of us getting another one together. I'm not sure who's running point on that, but I'm certainly willing to stick around.
As am I.
But if you'll cover for a minute, I am going to refill my water.
Can do. Ooh. Xyrak taking a big bang to the face, and that hurt. Thankfully, Porum had that Cure 4 lined up here.
I have returned and staying hydrated.
Yay, hydration.
So interestingly, that Xyrak is the only one who leveled up Edward. With Sid in the middle, he can usually anchor the agility. When I say that, I'm getting too far in the weeds, I think. But the idea is we're changing the speed of the party versus the boss. They were using a level 1 Edward basically to do that, and it was fine because it didn't take any extra effort. With trying to use Sid, you want to make sure his agility ends up being in a certain range, which means you need his level to be in a certain range. Which is actually kind of high, but looking at the HP, I think Xyrak did that.
Right, and yeah, the agility manipulation goes into quite a bit of math and game knowledge, but just to quickly break it down, in order for Zeromus to be as slow as possible, you want your agility anchor to have an agility that is a multiple of 14. And the anchor is going to be the character in the center spot. Or Cecil if you have him. And that's just kind of a quick and dirty explanation.
So White worked very similar to Nuke in this situation, and it's just that much more damage. Simbu's stuck on thinking it's gotta be behind the Wyvern spot.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't just bypassed it for now and tried to kill the other boss slots.
That makes me think that perhaps the theory we saw earlier is right, that maybe Simbu thinks that he already got through the Pablo Gauntlet.
Meanwhile, Xyrak is still trudging away on his Sephimus fight. Fu down, Edward obviously down. That was never going to change.
Well, this one taking a while for Xyrak. That's what happens when the ball is not up for Nuke. It's a bad time, really. Chad asks, why isn't he fighting? If you attack physically, you can trigger an HP refill. So by using the Reflect spell strats, it will not trigger that, which gives the final boss less HP. Oh, I'm sorry. The question was actually, why is he fighting Sephiroth? So why he's not. We have a sprite shuffle for the final boss. So it's still the same final boss, but we get to fight different enemies here. And it's just fun. Alright, so Xyrak has finished our third place, 148.15. And that just leaves Simbu to find the crystal. Now Simbu is setting up, has plenty of levels. Interesting that we never found that better axe for Sid. He can be quite good with the better axe, but something like the rune axe would have been ideal. We never found it. Sid could also be a really good archer, but we never found good bows.
Yeah, Sid's a pretty decent archer if you find him Artemis bow and arrows, or he can do pretty decent damage with if you find him that rune axe, which is the best axe in the game. And it looks like we are joined by Xyrak. GG, Xyrak.
Gee. That's all this fight, man.
Yeah, it looks like you had some trouble there.
He was so fast. So fast. It's not very often in my experience that, like, he goes big bang, black hole, and you don't have, like, one turn in between. And that's what was happening to me, so, yeah.
You were using Sid in the middle. Did you check his agility before the fight, or did you just know where he was?
I did. He was in the early 20s, which isn't ideal, but it shouldn't be terrible either.
Okay. Yeah. We saw scratchdragon use, like, level 1 Edward in that spot, so it would have been the same speed. Because it would have just defaulted to the 28.
Yeah.
So how about the path that finally got you to the crystal?
When you start Darkness, it's basically it's either going to be you do early moon or you don't, or you put the moon off. I put the moon off, and I was not correct. You just got those two quest chains that ended with the package and the drain spear, I guess, which is not great.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on this one? As we hopefully got Simbu finishing soon.
No. Well, it looks like we're gonna do a bit of an encore here, real quick. Something with quicker flags, so should be fun. Hope for a better result.
Yeah, we've got the room up for that if you want to hop over there.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So again, what we've talked to our runners about is going with the league qualifier flags for a shorter event than what we had here. And shouldn't take Simbu long.
Yeah, he's finally on the right path now, so he'll down this real quick, and it should be just a quick Z fight away.
To answer a question in chat, I was referring to a race room for Xyrak. And you don't have to do anything different. You just have to hang out here for the rest of the marathon and enjoy. And we did lose Scratch Dragon, but Invulnerable is going to jump in. And so we should be in good shape. Moving on through the Fable Gauntlet. So yeah, we are setting up our runners for another one. I can't see the old chat, but we'll try and get to Simbu about that after this. But Simbu's on the right track, just got the one more set of the general and soldiers to get through. Chad asked Mr. Ubek why he didn't race. Well, that's because he's doing our tracking. And did good job on that as well, so thank you for that tonight. The one last wave of the Fabo Gauntlet for Simbu, and then we'll be in total go mode. The levels are fine for going on to Zaramos. Just making sure we've got everything set up. And I think we're in good shape. Alright, Simbu has saved.
And yeah, he's heading for Z, so he should be finishing up here pretty quick.
I think Simbu is going in here with the highest levels of anyone, just from doing all the extra work, and so that should, in general, lead to a shorter fight as well. It'll be the same strats, but a little more oomph behind the spells. That's Xyrak and SilverStar setting up for the next one. We'll have a short break in between for setup purposes, but obviously we've already rolled the next seed.
Yeah, it'll be just be a quick changeover for getting Invenerable loaded up and cropped and all sorts of that great behind the scenes stuff. But I would be surprised if it took more than about 5 minutes. Good time to make sure you're following the Speed Gaming family of channels, Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6, and take a quick bio break. Get yourself a beverage, maybe another slice of that Thanksgiving pie if you're here in the States, and come back and join us for another race.
If you're not in the States, you can still have another piece of pie. Won't argue with you. It's not.
Yes, if you're not in the States, we certainly won't deny you that piece of pie.
Alright, Simbu, into the Zaramos fight.
Judging by health totals here, this should be a pretty good one for Simbu here.
And there we go, wall already up. One of the things you have to be careful of is not doing things too soon in this fight, because the boss has to actually transform for it to count.
Right.
So-
Any action taken before the transformation gets nullified. Usually, you're safe to start doing things right about when the name change occurs.
Yeah, that's usually my indication to do that kind of thing. But I like to lead off with stuff like slows and berserks that are useful, they're good, but they're not absolutely critical. But never throw the spoon as your first action.
Yeah, that generally leads to a bad time.
And like I said, the party that we have just leaned itself towards these strats. There really wasn't a good alternative. So doing the reflect, you've got two characters that can cast nuke, one that can cast white, and you can see that the damage rolls are definitely higher for Simbu than we were seeing otherwise. And in this case, it was just Simbu didn't fight the right bosses because you had to go through the Fabul Gauntlet.
Yeah, he spent a lot of time trying to brute force his way through Wyvern, when that just wasn't the right call.
It's one of those interesting things. Some runners will have the IRC window up during the races, and you can kind of metagame based on the times you see. Others don't want to be distracted by that, and so they have it down. I'm guessing Simbu had the IRC down because you wouldn't be messing with Wyvern if you saw somebody was done in an hour. Well, down to 2 party members. Oh, actually 3. I didn't see Edward was hiding.
Yeah, that was actually a smart move, hiding Edward at the beginning so he can come back and use those items to help get those down party members back up.
So you can still nuke from the Soya here. Also, it helps if you're good at counting the damage as you go along. And there it is, GG for Simbu.
Crackle bang, GG! Get those GGs in chat for Simbu.
And again, if you like the free enterprise and you want to see more of it, there'll be the weekly and sometime tonight. It's 7 o'clock East Coast time. There's a weekly on the Speed Gaming channels, so that'll be going on if you need just a short break from the marathon. So we will start getting people set up here. Obviously, we have a couple of our runners good to go already. So ready to start on the other seed. I have to go back and look at these flags because we haven't done them in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute for league qualifiers.
Yeah, it's generally faster, particularly because it is K1 instead of K2. So that radically reduces the number of places that the key items can be.
Yeah, we've also just got C2, so we're not limited on the number of party members we're going to have. They'll be able to switch out their party members as new ones arrive, and we'll also be able to. There'll also only be just the one duplicate, as this will be a no free lunch seed. So we'll only have the one duplicate, and there'll be probably a much greater variety of party composition.
Yeah, the other thing that's going to be big is there'll be better equipment available, both from the random treasures and from the shops. It's higher quality of stuff, and that can help speed things out as well. So they are working on the behind the scenes to set everything up. We've got SilverStar and Xyrak pulling double duty. Invulnerable is going to jump in here for scratchdragon, and I don't have word yet on Simbu's. Simbu's going to pull the double duty.
Neither do I. Are you in the... I didn't get a chance to join the first SRL channel. Did you?
I can only be in one at a time with my setup, so I am not in that one, unfortunately.
Okay,
But
let me see.
Simbu
Let's see if we can get a hold of him.
has access via the Discord to keep up with what we've got going on, just has to see it. So, meanwhile, I'll talk about what the flags we have going on. It'll be J2, which means not only do we have the Japanese items, but we have the skills that were in the Japanese version of the game. K1, we have less locations where the items can be. And let me just reply to Simbu here. The Wyvern flag is on, so that means he will not open with Mega Nuke. Which
Yeah,
is
that'll make everything much easier.
Otherwise, things like the experience flags stay the same. We almost always play with Zerama's flag on. Okay. So it looks like we got Simbu is going to take a quick break, and then we'll be good to go. So I think we're in good shape. I guess this is another good time to mention that if you join us in the Discord, you can find out a lot more about Free Enterprise, and just try it out. Have some fun. Play with different flags. It's usually a good idea to play with the higher settings on treasures and shops. You get better gear available, which just helps make the whole thing go easier. I will say we got some comments from Simbu that the IRC did not show the finishes, so that's why Simbu didn't know that Wyvern was not required. So I was half right on that speculation. I thought maybe just the IRC was down.
Yeah, so while we get everything set up here behind the scenes, now's a good time. Go ahead, take that quick buy break, grab a second slice of pie, and come back for another great race. We're going to be featuring Xyrak, SilverStar, Simbu, and Invenerable, who's taking the place of scratchdragon.
Yeah, scratchdragon put up a great time, and then the turkey started catching up. So we'll be going in just a couple minutes here. Not long at all. And again, this is a much faster set of flags, so we should see the runners done approximately an hour.
Yeah, runners of these quality with this flag set, unless Miss Dragon decides to be in a super trolly location with key progression, an hour is going to be a long estimate.
Come to think of it, I think the last time we did commentary together was during the league.
My memory is horrible, so I'm going to assume you're correct.
Okay. Mine is too.
Okay. People are restream is ready. People are starting to ready up, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a real quick AFK. If you want to keep everybody entertained for just a quick second, I will be right back.
Entertained. Nobody said I had to do entertainment. I was doing I was doing commentary. I will mention what we have on the schedule is Magius doing Link to the Past after this. Then you've got Star Wars Return of the Jedi coming up later, Secret of the Stars, Super Metroid back to back, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest by RPG Chick, another good run coming up later on. So many good runs in this marathon. On Saturday, you've got Mortal Kombat, Super Metroid, Breath of Fire. If you like your classic SNES RPGs. Chat wants me to tell a joke. I'm a good speedrunner. That's a joke. I talk better than I run. With T4, I guess I'll mention that one of the things they can do, we talked about the better equipment, but we might find adamant armor available just in the seed. Getting our runners with the final setup, and hopefully we'll see a nice, different Zeramos sprite. All right, final things getting set up here. I do actually run this a lot casually. Just don't race a lot.
Alrighty, I have returned.
That's good. We are just waiting on Simbu, I think, to ready up. Scheduling update. The Link to the Past run that was scheduled is not going to happen. So we will be filling that spot as well as part of why we're doing the extra run here. Invent stream should be ready to go in just a moment here. That's our last one to set up. What do you think? We're going to find an adamant armor in a random chest?
I vote yes.
It can definitely happen. You can also get other very useful things that might make Rydia better. You might find a Bahamut in the treasure chest.
Well, you could even find a crystal sword.
Yeah, you could easily find multiple adamant armor. You could find all the best endgame weapons that you get from the moon. All sorts of good stuff. Alright, so I believe we have all present and accounted for now. So let's turn them loose. Three crystal swords. Yeah, you can definitely get repeat items. I don't know the exact logic behind it, but I think you can get up to 4 of the same item. So, Chad asks about the different flags. We've covered it a little bit, but in particular, biggest change will be going from K2 to K1, which means not as many locations can have the progression items.
Yeah, the most notable ones will be the removal of the moon boss fights and the Leviathan and Ashura spots underground. And it looks like
I'd
we've
like
got
to-
Iridia and looked like Palom to me. And we start with the
Whoa.
crystal. We've got a jet seed, ladies and gentlemen. We just got to find our way to the moon and a grind. And if this is done right, we could see a sub 30 minute.
Lesson learned. We should have had Scala Kitty roll the seed.
No, I rolled this seed, so that means our underground access is going to be a hook, and that means and our moon access is going to be underground, guaranteed.
So you need 3 things to win the game. You have to have the crystal, you have to have an ability to get to the final boss, and you have to have enough power to kill it. So we started with a third of the equation already. That looks like Cecil hanging out, or is that Kane? That's Kane.
Yep, that's
Small ones.
Kane.
It's gotta be Kane!
I do believe that's copyright infringement. Phantom Ryu is not here.
Right, so... Pass was for sale right there. Right at Baron. Well, Jet Seed confirmed. Now all we have
Ladies
to do
and
is get
gentlemen,
levels.
for a grind.
Oh, that's crazy. So we saw the pass used in the last seed. They can go straight to the final boss. Anytime they want to now. It just wouldn't be a good idea at this point, but you can do it.
You could do it. You die in about 3 seconds flat, but you could do it.
So like the last seed, no free lunch is on, so the same character recruitment spots apply. Xyrak has gone to an out-of-the-way location. This is probably to check the item shop and see who the character
he's also checking the Sand Ruby spot.
Yeah.
That looked like a twin to me. I didn't catch. Let's see, hair was on the left.
I never
so
try and
think
figure it
that's
out from the
Porum.
hair. I only figure it out from the cape.
Yeah, I can normally only figure it out from the cape. I'm trying to remember, but please don't quote me on it. But I think it's Porum.
So we're about to find out who's on, I call this a Chu Mountain. We had Duplicate Fu here last time. This time, it's Cecil.
And it's Dark Knight Cecil at that. So, and Simbu's noping out of that. Meanwhile, SilverStar is raiding the basement of Troya.
That was the Kidia Napper fight as we find a ribbon, which is a great find. I think I would have kept Cecil there. Certainly until I had a reason to do otherwise.
With the Biken fight and it just being Dark Knight Cecil, I honestly don't even blame him. That would have been kind of a just a little bit of a slog.
Was it Bigan? I thought it was the Kitty nappers.
The sprite was red. I'm pretty sure it was Bigan.
That'd certainly make a difference.
If it was the Kitty and Nappers, yeah, that definitely would have been a quick and dirty free Cecil. But Bigan, that's just not fun with this early with those characters.
So Rydia in her child form finally commonly gets called Kidia, Kid Rydia, Kidia, and then you have the kidnappers who come in the vanilla game trying to kidnap her, and so I call them the Kidia nappers. Just so I'm not unclear on this point. Setting up Rydia to do melee damage, and that's plenty of setup for it too.
Looks like Xyrak is going to go ahead and go for Bigan.
Moonveils.
See what he has.
Where were Moonveils? Moonveils were in Toria. That's a great early find.
And Xyrak showing off one of the J2 abilities for Cecil, known as Dark, short for Dark Wave, but not getting much bang for his buck.
Good damage against Leviathan. As long as you don't take that Ice 2, you should be fine. Big Wave is a percent-based attack, so that we're not as worried about. But Ice 2 will hurt. Hopefully that's enough. It is. It's the Antlion HP, so it's pretty low.
SilverStar heading into the Fabul Gauntlet fight. See what we get there.
Oh, we get the
And
Darkness
there's the
Crystal,
Darkness Crystal.
so
We now
that's total go mode.
that's complete go mode, and Dark Elf at Fabul. So
Darkness Crystal means we have access to a fight that we can get levels from, and it also means we have access to the final boss. So this seed just keeps on giving.
well, even now it's Black Friday here in the States. So
That's a good point. This is the Black Friday of free enterprise seeds. So do we have... Not seen Sirens yet. Defending Fabul nets the spoon. And then what were you doing with the hovercraft? I guess checking, or probably learning Fire 1 with Rydia. Could just landed the airship there, but whatever. Rydia will not learn Fire 1 unless you go to the other side of Mount Hobbs.
yeah, and even in an early seed, sometimes it's worth it. On very rare occasion, though.
Yeah. Her spell damage will usually outdo most of her attacks in early game. Notable exception is Dancing Dagger.
Stardust Rod, if they happen to find one, will also be a good exception.
But this Flame Whip with the Heroine Rope is doing quite nicely.
I'm surprised that those who've completed the Antlion Cave haven't already made their way up to the moon for the free character yet.
That's a good thought.
That would have been the first thing I did after it.
Him as a party member. But getting him right now could be a stretch. Ben gonna defend the wool, and where is Xyrak gonna go with this darkness crystal? Looks like going back for Kane. Samurai bow is a great find. Zeus gauntlets will boost your attack, so they're very good for melee damage.
Just doesn't have anyone who can wear them yet.
Chad asking about the random encounters. They can be turned on and off with the settings we're using in this seed. Oh, it's Water Hag. So
Oh,
just have to hit
that's
him
a
3
3-hitter
times.
quitter.
It's really a quality of life convenience to have the encounters turned off, because we don't need them, and most of them just aren't really worth good experience. So instead we go to places that are good experience and get all of our levels there. SilverStar the 3rd, or no, actually the 4th to get Darkness Crystal now, so everybody's got it. Everybody's kind of on equal footing right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one's made the trek up to the moon just for the free character yet. Check the shop up there.
As you say that, Simbu decides it sounds like a good idea.
Simbu, stop listening to the stream.
But really the options are limited to either Darkness Crystal or going for Kane right now. You could also do Mount Ordeals, but really no reason to except for having Dark Knight Cecil turn to Paladin Cecil.
Yeah, and with these characters at this low level, that would be a rough set of fights. And Xyrak noping out of the Mylon fight.
Fire 2 should make that doable, but maybe you need a little bit more. I was going to say, the other thing you might see people do is check the early not required boss spots for Mist Dragon, but there's really no reason to in this seed. In other seeds where we don't have the crystal yet, they'll often check those 2 early spots, the waterfall and the demist cave. Looks like sirens, lit bolts, cure 3s. This is a stacked Basidia item shop. Also, those grimoires can be very useful. They'll do a random summon, and early game especially, that can help you get through some fights.
More than one occasion, I've had a random Bahamut summon save my bacon.
Did he fry it or cook it in the oven?
Fry it, of course.
Okay, just checking.
Insta-crispy.
So Mylon is interesting, and you find out what he can do when you see him in other spots. But also trying to do it with just 2 party members is a little rough. He is going to counterattack with lit 1s, and they're not that much, but relative to our party's HP, they hurt.
Xyrak has activated his Darkness Crystal and bringing forth the big whale. Simbu activated it, but never went to the moon.
It's a little bit surprising to me. I mean,
I
yeah,
think he
it
just,
doesn't hurt to knock the scene out of the way anyways, but...
Right, I think he went into Mystidia just wanting to shop and forgot he had the Darkness Crystal already.
Picks up the Dragon Whip now.
Ooh, and there's a
Crystal
Crystal Sword in Village Mist, so once Cecil turns Paladin, that's his best weapon.
But it's going to be Xyrak who will be the first to find out what's for sale with the Hummingways and what character is here. Chad asks, is there a wiki that explains the logic of what key item unlocks? There is a comprehensive guide for what all the stuff does, including what the J items do, what the key items do, and that'd be the place to start. So that's in the Discord.
Yeah, there's a whole newbie channel there just to help people learn how to play the game. So definitely something that you'll want to check out if you're going to be joining us, which we highly encourage that you do. We'd love to have you.
Hey, you can even join the weekly tonight on the Speed Gaming family of network channels. Alright, we're going to find out who is hanging out in Fusoya's spot. Everybody's destined for the moon right now. It is Vanilla Foo. Not random enough.
Is this even randomized?
Who rolled this thing?
I did.
So this seed has been plentiful in giving us a lot of things. Now though, we will need spells for Fusoya, and as with the last seed, we will get them from unlocking bosses. You can do 3 different settings with Fusoya. You can have him just start with his full spell list like he does in vanilla. You can tie it to Mount Ordeals where it gets the same treatment as Tella. You complete Mount Ordeals and you get all of Fusoya's spells. Or you can have it unlock 3 at a time as you defeat bosses.
Looks like Invenerable is making his way up to the moon here, following in Xyrak's footsteps, and Simbu is back to taking on Baigan and makes short work of him.
Pretty easy time of it. And then I'm curious if Simbu's gonna go to Mount Ordeals and get a Paladin Cecil, because if you're picking up Cecil, there's no reason to have Dark Knight instead of Paladin. And that's what Xyrak is thinking.
Yeah, especially when you've got that crystal sword in your back pocket.
Not sure everybody's gonna find that, though. So that could be a potential advantage, just from checking that extra treasure location. Landis, not Landis, I'm not sure. It was the Village of Summoners.
Yeah, the Mist Village is where it was. And SilverStar is going to be picking up his foo here momentarily.
We got the Bahamut as our first boss on Mount Ordeal. It's actually not that bad. He's going to take his good sweet time before casting Nuke. So we'll be able to inflict a lot of damage before that.
And if Ready when Redia has that Dragon Whip, she's going to do some severe damage to him.
Yeah, Berserker if you have it, but that may not be one of Foo's available spells right now. Ice 2 does the job nicely though.
First fight complete for Xyrak.
Looks like we got some level 2 and 3 spells from that, and it's Antlion.
Not a bad spot for Antlion. He'll hurt a bit, but not too bad. 1 or 2 Fire 3 should do the job.
Gonna hit hard, he gets the back-to-back advantage here. And Fire 3 does take care of business. So Xyrak has gotten through the first 2 bosses. And usually the last boss is the easiest, because it was designed for just Cecil. And instead, we're going to bring in 4 party members instead of that.
And there was an adamant armor in the Troya basement for SilverStar.
It was loaded as it tends to be. Where was Earth Crystal? He looked away.
I did not see where it was. But Kane is going to be loaded for Bear here. I didn't even see where
that
he
must have
got
been Baron
Kane.
Inn. That's all I think.
Oh, Kane was at Baron Inn. That's of course.
Yeah.
Duh.
And Sand Ruby is our item at the top of Mount Ordeals. That could potentially be our 5th party member. Chad confirms it was a Baron Inn, and that's Odin. So this is a pretty easy spot for Odin. He's only got 1,000 HP. Lit 2 would probably be enough.
Xyrak just going to wait out the cast time here.
Yeah, 3,000 damage. When you've got elemental vulnerabilities on your side, spell damage can be a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And Venerable taking out the Antlion, and Simbu barely gets through Mylon. Meanwhile, SilverStar is heading up the Tower of Zot.
Well, access to 2 characters, so that plus an item, it's usually not a bad play if you've got enough firepower to actually win. No Quake though, so this is an idea.
Yeah, but Fire 3 should do plenty of damage. And we've got a Moon Boss. Who do we got? Pale Dim. That
So
Dragon Whip is... Dragon Whip on Radio for SilverStar is going to do lots and lots of damage, so I expect this fight to go fairly quick.
What you can't do is any elemental damage against Pale Dim. So fire, ice, those are all out.
Yeah, that elemental damage will heal it, and I believe there's a countercast.
Certainly counters every melee hit with flow. I also thought it was worth mentioning the whole wherever he is thing, because we've seen that come up here with Tella, Prince Media, wherever he is. So the event triggers are considered sufficient whether or not you have the party member at the time. So we can pick up Tella, he would have all of his spells. There's a couple other places that applies to. Rydia growing up from Dwarf Castle, and you complete Tower of Zot, Rosa will learn Exit. There she is. Also Paladin, Cecil becomes a Paladin wherever he is when you complete Mount Ordeals.
Looks like the first character in Zot is going to be Yang for SilverStar, and we've got a Deadward.
Yeah, so we got Yang here. That's a good find. It's a decent find. You got to get him above level 50 to really take off, but he can do some impressive stuff at that point.
SilverStar not equipping his adamant armor yet. I'm guessing at this point he's going to be saving it for maybe Paladin Cecil? I don't know. I'm surprised he didn't equip it to Kane at this point.
Paladin Cecil is not usually who I would go with for that. We talked about agility a little bit with the last seed, but it can mess with that significantly. Out of this party composition, Yang would probably be my choice.
Yeah, either Yang or Kane. One of those two would be my choice. And excuse me. Palom picking up Virus here in the in the Fabul Gauntlet fight here at the top of Tower Zot. So SilverStar is going to be here in a minute.
And then used a Lit 2 item to clear out the zombies there. I meant to say a Japanese item. There's a lot of these neat items they had in the Japanese version of the game we didn't get in America that are spell casting, and they can make anybody useful, basically. So in particular, there's a couple out there that are notable. There's Quake Casting, which is the Gaia Drums, and there's also Star Veils, which do comment. Those are great in the early game for clearing a lot of stuff out of your way.
Simbu getting to the top of Mount Ordeals here. He'll have his Paladin Cecil, and he was the one that picked up the Crystal Sword, if I remember correctly, so that Cecil will be loaded for Bear.
Yeah, as for what our runners could be looking for right now, when Fusoya gets weak, they have access to level grinding. Until then, they really don't. They have a not very good grind location open to them right now, which is they could do random encounters on the moon, which would go a little bit better than the Nagapogo fight. But they have stone, so the human type enemies on the moon you can one-shot with stone. It'd be rough, but you could do that. So right now I think they're looking for access to the underground and hopefully find sirens.
Venerable just picked up weak. Now, at this point, does he go for a D machine grind, do you think?
I'll say it's very possible. Weak is definitely what you would need. Chad is right that they picked up sirens in the city, but we don't have access to the subworld yet. Or
Yeah.
actually, we got it from completing Zot, so that's the answer. You gotta get Kane, you gotta take it to Zot to get the magma key, and then you could get access to the eggs for grinding levels.
Yeah, and it looks like Invulnerable is just taking out the easy bosses, get Fu some HP and some spells. We'll see if he... No, he hasn't done Tower of Zot yet, so heading underground isn't quite an option for him yet.
Yeah. So there's 3 locations of note for getting your levels from. The D machine we may or may not see with this seed. You have to have weak to make that work. There is the King Ryus that we saw before, and we saw the eggs in the last seed too. The thing about going for the Ryus is you have to be high enough level to live through their attacks, or else that doesn't work. And it can be a real pain to set up the D machine. On the other hand, the value of the eggs diminishes as you go along.
Yeah, and especially since they're nowhere close to their 10 key items at this point, I think that the D machine is going to be their best bet.
With the way this one has gone, I would definitely forego 10 key items. I wouldn't worry about it.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. I would completely forego getting the 10 key items.
There's the coffins, so the eggs just became completely free. The last seed, we saw a few eggs killed by using Quake. Chad asks, is this the same run as before? This is the second run, actually. We've even changed a runner.
Yep, we got the first run done so fast we decided we'd run an encore.
And that's an interesting choice, taking Fusoya over Quake Kid. I would have kept Quake Kid and replaced Rydia, I think, out of that party options.
Yeah, I agree, but all that seems to confirm that Simbu's going to be going for D-Machine grind here. That's about the only explanation that makes sense. But even then, why would you? I don't understand why he would keep Ready and get rid of Quake Kid. It's definitely a question for him.
Darvales, I didn't see much else for sale at Hummingway.
SilverStar running into CPU. Looks like he's... I can't tell where he is. Is he... He's got to be on the moon, based on his items. Oh no, he's in Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's in the crystal room of Dwarf Castle. That makes sense.
Inven is going for the reuse. If your timing lines up really good, you can actually get 2 life potions off. But generally speaking, just getting 1 is sufficient. Because that's the equivalent of killing 3 of these instead of 2, so... It's a very good pickup of experience.
Yeah, it's a nice quick slingshot for Invulnerable. You see his character is gaining 11 and 16 levels right off the bat, so that'll get him up and going here real quick.
So Simbu and Inven both doing the grind, likely with plans to go to Zaramos soon after. We're on pace, I would say, to be around the 45-minute mark.
That sounds about right. Just quick mathing it with where they are, what they've got, and what they're doing.
Yeah, now even though we're not getting the bonus for 10 key items, we're still getting, basically, in Inven's case, 4 times vanilla experience because it's not being split up among the party members. 5 times in Simbu's case.
And we've got Dupe Rydia down in the Dwarf Castle. That's vanilla. And we've got a French vanilla Calbrana fight.
Chat wants to know if we know what the Bard song is. I highly doubt we're going to find out in this seed. Because I don't know where we would find the harp, and I don't know why anybody would go do it. So, the path to Zaramos is open.
Yeah, we're in go mode. We're just doing the grind at this point.
There's always good stuff on Twitch at 3 a.m. If you go on Twitch, you don't expect to sleep. So what you generally are going to see... Oh, we got a sub, so thank you for subbing and supporting Speed Gaming. With the levels that players will want, it's generally the HP. They'll want to be 1800 to be able to survive most big bangs. Spell-wise, you want Rydia or Porum to have nuke. A character like Yang, you just want him to be over level 50. The chat pointing out that Simbu is taking advantage of Cecil's natural covering, so he doesn't have to heal anybody except for Cecil. Well, that's very unfortunate, Pasoya being down, but fortunately we got lives. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, he got the hourglass off, so it's just a quick recovery and he's good to go. No real time lost there.
Well, SilverStar has gone to summon monsters, rewarded with an Artemis bow, which is not a bad find at all.
And a package.
So potentially a character. Gaia drums, they're good early, probably not too valuable right now. Hourglasses, though, are nice.
And nothing else of value here.
Yeah, we're not interested in the summon monster bosses. So if you, what happens to those locations when they're not eligible for a key item is they're eligible for a higher level of rewards than the random treasure chests. Except for this is T4, so there's no such thing. So you're still likely to get something good from those fights. They're just not really worth our time today.
Yeah, SilverStar. Yeah, I'm surprised at what SilverStar is doing. It looks like he's on the hunt for his 10 key items. Try and speed up the grind.
It's just really hard to do. Okay, you'll get 2 from Sheila, but the pass doesn't count. Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sheila will make 8 and 9.
Yeah, you're still 1 short.
Yeah, so it'll depend on what Sheila gives you.
Chad asks if there would be another free Enterprise run. I don't know about that. Even on the West Coast, it's starting to get a little late for you over there.
It's only 1:15. It's not that bad.
I think that was Luca
Key
Key and
Tower Key.
So Tower Key is a quick check to get the 10th item.
Yeah, just run up, kill the cannon room boss, and run out.
Meanwhile, Simbu and Inven just keep getting their levels from these Ryus. The one downside for them is not getting bosses killed for Fasoya, so he's still underpowered.
Yeah, especially for Invenerable, who didn't pick up Porum. Simbu will at least have another white mage in his pocket.
Well, you could potentially get some easy kills elsewhere to make that up after the love grind. Just depends on how you approach it.
Yeah, with where he is, he could just go through and kill some moon bosses on his way. If that's how he plans to do it.
SilverStar? Yeah. Didn't save before the cannon run, but this could be an either-or thing, because the top of the tower has less cutscene involved than this does After Effect. No, that one hasn't.
Yeah, but this is
neat.
an extremely short fight. It's usually just 1 or 2 smacks and it's done.
So this spot has the combined HP of the 3 Dark Imps, which is still not very much.
I think we're talking like 1500 HP tops. I think it's more like 1,000 though. I don't know the stats for it off the top of my head. I just know that it's very quick.
We're about to find out what the dwarf item is, and shortly after that we'll find out what SilverStar gets. And I think we're all hoping one of these is the harp.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
dwarf
okay.
item castle was the pan, so that's what started SilverStar on this chain.
Yeah, now unfortunately, even if it's the harp or SilverStar, it'd be 10 key items, so I don't think there will be a check of the harp song. Janice, if an Inven is going for just 4 party members, probably.
Yeah, anybody else invulnerable would pick up would have to be level grinded, and the slingshot would help, but it would still be just more time than it's worth.
Yeah, it would basically take 2 fights to catch somebody up in levels. You gain so much the first time. What does free enterprise mean? Well, the airship in this game is called the Enterprise, and you get it for free. So it means that you have basically free reign of the main world as soon as you start the game. And that's great because it allows more chances for randomness. If you had to play it linear, you could only do so much.
Our tracker pointing out that Inven might go get Dark Knight Cecil and use him as an underleveled anchor, which is possible, but with where he is in the world, I don't foresee that happening. But it is a possibility.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do a fight for the 5th character in this scenario, but there would definitely be value in picking up somebody at that low level.
Dark Knight Cecil was at Mount Hobbs, so it would just be, with characters of this level, just a quick nuke and done.
So SilverStar now has the 10 key item grind going with the Dragon Whip and is one-shotting for 68,000. It's obviously much faster per fight, but it's also much less experience per fight. As far as the contrast in SilverStar versus Xyrak goes, SilverStar is going to do this much faster with the 10 key items that Xyrak does not have. And the eggs that you get from the sirens are the yellow dragon eggs. They only have 1800 HP, which was probably actually a bug in this version, but that's how it is. Some bugs happen to work in the player's favor. The Dragon Whip is able to make quick work of it. You can also do this with coffins. And this is one of those interesting strats that came out only because of the randomizer, because you had to get coffins, you had to get enough sirens to make it worthwhile. And it looks like Simbu might be ready to go for this thing.
Yeah, Invulnerable is also right outside of Troya, so he's just rearranging some of his equipment, and he'll be on his way.
Got the item shop for Ether 1s, not bad. Not great, but not bad.
And here's the pass, so if you missed it the first time, here's where it is, and here's how you use it.
Normally, vanilla, this leads to the club, but this we get a Snake Way type teleporter, takes us straight to the moon. Little old man just says, have fun. So Ben's gonna be the first one into the fight.
So, who do you want to see for the Z Sprite today? Or, well, not today, this go around.
I think my personal favorite at this point is the Suikoden 1 final boss, but we'll see what happens. Also, I'd just like to point out I've predicted about a 45-minute run, and here we are 44 minutes getting in. That's pretty close.
Yeah, probably a 2 or 3 minute boss fight, maybe 4. Although his health totals are kind of low, so it might take a little bit low.
Yeah. I actually wonder if we won't see the reflect strats again. We've got the 3 black mages, if you count it that way, and it's probably better to do the reflect strats than have Kane attack.
Well, he did just balk us up, so.
Never mind then.
But I do still expect some nuke bouncing here. And we have Goddessmas.
Alrighty then. On Simbu's side, I think using a different weapon, which is the Rune Axe for Kane, and the Crystal Sword on Cecil is quite a bit more melee damage. We'll see if that makes a difference.
And we see Xyrak here still in his grind here with Cecil dead. So what he's doing here is he's got Cecil with enough HP to survive the Big Bang. So he's got him at an agility spot where he's comfortable. As I said previously, the agility manipulation is you want your agility anchor, which is going to be either the character in the middle slot or Cecil if he's in your party, to have an agility at a multiple of 14. And that will produce Zeromus to go as slow as possible.
Chat's feeling the hype because of the equipment difference, that Simbu's going to pump out more damage per round. So, Inven's got the head start. There's going to be more damage from Simbu, and we'll see how much that pays off.
Yeah, and with that Big Bang, that's
Yes.
Palom and Rydia down with that counter nuke.
Yeah, this might be a reset scenario for Inven. We'll see.
Very true. He might just try and berserk it all the way.
Cure 4 among only the 2 is not bad. And I really think this has kind of tipped the scales a little more towards Simbu's favor. What's he do against this Big Bang? Oh, rough. Boo didn't even have a chance.
Uncle Mop took a nap.
Yeah, neither of them got Fusoya to full power. Which, Fusoya does not get all of his HP just based on level. He unlocks that as you power him up, so that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, Invenerable's probably going to wipe here. Palom and Fu are both sub 100 HP. This is not going to be pretty.
So now the door has started to open for SilverStar to come in here, having done a different grind. And Xyrak is going to get full power Fusoya before coming up here. So the Zaramos fight will adjust its speed based on your party's speed, and when Cecil is in the party, that's who it's based on. In Inven's case, it's being based on the Soya, who is in the middle spot. So it's always Cecil first, and if no Cecil, then it's based on the middle spot. Well, Simbu having a rough time with this too.
Yeah, it looks like neither one of them got their got their casters up very high, so they could just be just looking to berserk this out. SilverStar might just pull out the win here with a higher level group.
Chad asks, what if there's no one in the middle spot? There's actually a priority list it'll go through. You can read more about that in the Discord. I just don't want to get overly complicated in explanations here. So we're going to have all 4 runners on this at the same time. It's a constant struggle. When you're in a race situation, you want to go as fast as you can, but did you do everything you needed to be ready?
And there's the
we have a
crackle
GG.
bang.
Inven pulling it off.
With an official SRL time of 50 minutes and 25 seconds. GG to Invenerable.
Ben has mute on right now. Hopefully we'll get some words in a moment. How will it go between the rest of our runners, though? Did everybody come in here with a different party composition?
Just about. I think
I
Simbu
think
and Xyrak
so.
have the same composition.
Who's that?
I think Xyrak and Simbu have the same composition.
No, they have a different twin. Black magic versus white magic.
Yeah, everyone's got a different party composition.
There we go. Inven!
Okay, y'all pulled me. I literally just asked Larigos, are they going to pull me in or should I just join? Ta-da!
Well, I was waiting until you turned mute off to be sure you were ready.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
Well,
So
GG
first of all,
is
thanks for
memorable.
jumping in here tonight.
Hey, no problem. Was playing some 2v2 K4 action earlier and was not ready to go to sleep at all. So glad to join. But what a
Could you have made that final boss any more dramatic?
skin of my teeth. The skin of my teeth. No, I couldn't. I don't think I could have. Like, if that had not finished it, it's just like, well, rip.
We actually have everybody on the fight right now, which is probably not that much of a surprise when you started with Darkness Crystal and the Crystal
Oh, yeah.
it was, but
Darkness
you and
Crystal
Simbu went for
passive
the
variant.
reuse. Xyrak and Silver actually went for the eggs.
Oh, they was. I guess Zot led the way to the underground.
Yeah, Magna Cube.
Yeah.
Ah, not even a hook. Not even. It couldn't even give me credit for following that darkness. It had to give them the hook. I mean, it had to give them the magma key. Rude seed. Come on.
I know. I'm sitting here thinking I rolled this, so it's gonna be a hook seed. It's gonna have mandatory progression at a hidden demist, and then it's an absolute jet seed. What the heck?
Apparently, we should have had Scully Kitty roll.
I mean, I don't know. Like, even like with all these, with these finishes, 50. I feel like it would have been faster if it hadn't had Darkness Crystal. It's really weird. I don't know. Fu, you have to beat the bosses, but I didn't beat the bosses. Did they beat? Who beat the bosses? I don't know. But it's
Xyrak was the only one who beat all of the bosses. Simbu, who just finished second, didn't quite get them all. I'm sorry, SilverStar finished second, didn't quite get them all.
That's a 38-second difference, by the way. Holy cow!
Yeah, and SilverStar was interesting route divergence. Actually went and got all 10 key items to get the double experience from the eggs.
Oh dang. Yeah, I got like if I had not gotten weak on Fu before with those two with the Vanilla Mist Dragon, Vanilla Octoman, I got weak. I'm like, okay, let's go Moon. If I hadn't gotten weak, I would have followed everyone else. But weak made me think, let's go for it. Let's see what we can manage. And it apparently paid off, but holy crap, that's Aroma's fight.
Yeah, no, when you got weak, I was honestly predicting that you were going to D-Machine grind. Rather than King Ryu.
I already had all the sirens, and I didn't have anyone, like, you can't slingshot with 4 characters. You have to have 5 characters to do a slingshot. So I'm like, I only got 4 characters. Let's just do the Gold Dragon one. And then if I decide I want to go back and buy anything, I can. I didn't buy anything, but it felt like the better choice at that point.
SilverStar, GG, thank you for the double duty, and how about that snipe?
Well, I don't know which one you're talking about because it seems like all 3 of us were in the Z fight at one point.
Oh, all 4 of you were in the Z fight at the same point. You actually got there third, though. But you had done the higher levels, so...
Yeah,
Actually, biggest difference, you had Yang. You were the only one to do that.
That was Dwarf Castle, wasn't it? I think the biggest boon that I got from doing all, searching for all those characters and key items is that, like, on the very last boss that I did, Fu learned both Nuke and Cure 4, and that just blew me back.
Yeah, that's a definite stroke of luck there, making him both a viable black mage and white mage for the final fight.
Yeah, that made the Zoromas fight definitely very comfortable for what I did. I'm curious to see what everyone else did, because you get the crystal, you've got go mode right there. 1 minute in, you've got go mode, because the pass is right there in Baron as well.
Yeah, as far as go mode, it couldn't have been any nicer.
Well, we saw 2 of you take the Darkness Crystal to the moon and do the reuse, and then we saw 2 of you go to the eggs, but it was only SilverStar who got the 10 key items as well.
Yeah, I wanted to get Rydia up to Nuke because I couldn't see this being a short battle, and also you just had no really reliable healing except for Cure 3s, which I only bought 5 of at the time and forgot where they were. So that's all unless I wanted to spend several minutes searching through the shops again, I had to take what I was giving myself.
That's fairly reasonable. Found it fun that you all took a different party into the final boss.
Yeah, with this much of a jet scene, it's highly surprising that there was such a big party divergence.
So we have Xyrak trying to wrap this up second try. So one of the things that Xyrak will probably be trying to do, never mind, he's not trying to do it. When you see the final boss do that shake, that's the time you can set up a nerf of the Big Bang, but Xyrak did not. Instead was just waiting for Cure 4.
And it looks like Rydia didn't survive there. Everyone else did, just barely.
Yeah, only 1400 HP for Rydia. That's pretty hard to survive. Even nerfed Big Bangs will be questionable.
Very true, depending on her magic resistance.
I hope everybody has enjoyed a fun time tonight as we represented Free Enterprise well with the runners have all put on a fantastic show for us, and hope you've enjoyed. And it's at about 7 o'clock tonight. The ones we've got.
As he was saying, about 7 o'clock Eastern Time tonight here on the Speed Gaming family of networks. There will be the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise community race. So I hope everyone's wanting to join in on that. We'll be happy to see it. If you don't race, please be here and watch. We'll be putting on a great show for you then as well.
Looks like the Z fight going a little bit better for Xyrak this time. Looks like things running pretty smoothly. The Berserk strats can do quite a lot for you in the Z fight. One of the things that works in your favor is you don't have to do inputs, and that just leads to your characters taking more turns.
Looks like you got that life off prematurely. Well, not prematurely, but no, what's the word? It's 1 a.m. My brain is turning off.
Just in time. Perfect timing.
Preemptively?
Well,
Yeah, that's the word. Preemptively. He preemptively set up the life before the Big Bang.
so Black Hole unfortunately takes away the Berserks, so we'll have to reapply those. Looks like it was ready for that with Rydia.
Well, she did have to reapply it after just being dead.
Oh, okay, fair enough. The last attack for your Berserk characters is still queued in, which is why it's still hit, but didn't have the Berserk bonus damage.
Xyrak on the random nuke stage, so he's coming close.
Yeah, this one has gone a lot smoother. The Berserk strats can do a lot. The damage rolls are a little bit low. Mentioned that early on that we might not necessarily see everybody get the crystal sword. Xyrak here does not have it, using one of the axes for Cecil. So that's a significant difference in damage, and you add that up over 20 attacks. It's a lot.
Yeah,
There's
with
Medio Phase.
There's Medio Phase, so he's just about got this in the bag. I'm surprised he doesn't just nuke and end it.
Medio means you have less than 10,000 HP left on the final boss. Berserk should make pretty quick work of it. And GG to Xyrak.
Yep, crackle bang, GG.
$102.39, right about the hour mark. That's these were all very reasonable times for these flags. Anytime you say it's a K1, to have it in the hour range is not unusual at all. What an interesting start we had to this seed, with it being the starting crystal. Just anytime you don't have to search for it makes such a difference. And we have Star Wars coming up next in the marathon. Should be going to that shortly. Hope everyone has enjoyed the free enterprise racing. Again, you're welcome to join us in the Discord, and there's plenty of racing going on. If it's brand new to you and you'd like to find out more, you'll get all the questions you can think of. We'll be happy to answer them. Thank you especially to our runners who pulled double duty, also to Inven who jumped in here on short notice. Thank you to Speed Gaming for letting us in the schedule here.
Also want to say thank you to Mr. Ubik for tracking for us, and as well to Trenton. Thank you for commentating. I appreciate it.
Had fun doing this with you. Hope we do it again sometime. Just a lot of fun. Even if it is 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's always good to race at 4 in the morning when you're drunk on turkey.
I guess I should clarify in response to chat. All the questions you can think to ask of about Final Fantasy IV. I'm not making promises about questions beyond that.
Alrighty, well, it looks like we're getting ready to swap over to Star Wars here in just a quick second. So if you haven't already, make sure to follow these great runners and streamers for putting on a show for you. Follow our, make sure you're following all the Speed Gaming family of channels. Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. I am Christopher Warkin, my co-commentator Trenton. And you guys have a great rest of your evening and enjoy the rest of the marathon. Work!
Good night, everybody.